exists if anyone needs it.
Hope there's a camera.
You got a white shirt on too.
I know.
Very handy.
I think your white shirt is whiter than
And then the paper? I know. I know. I was just looking at it. I'm like, this is like reflective compared to the paper.
Yeah.
Like, that's funny. You're good?
Okay. Yep.
Myron, you're good?
Yep.
Okay, did you get a mic? Remember mic check?
Yep.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic check. Good. Levels.
Yep.
Awesome. You got him, Ted? Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic.
Perfect. Hey, I didn't do something. TV live, you're still rolling on it? Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll on it again. This is gonna be, the press conference for the state attorney's office. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great, this way you guys have them notes. Just in case. Oh, I do know. Alright, so you see it, you see the podium and all? Cool. Alright. Thank you, sir. Go ahead and just start rolling. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah. Question. I was looking at that. Is Lily usually like post
DR
a
one.
story or is she just live? I think posting the story will just automatically do it for you. I don't know if you want to do it. Okay. All right.
Is everybody set up?
Yeah.
We should probably be going at about 1:30.
Okay.
Just wait for
Okay.
a couple people to meet.
Oh yeah, of course.
So here's your nearest phone. This is your phone, it's not on this phone.
Okay.
Okay. Here's your text and your password. So turn it off while I'm using. This is your password.
All right.
I just got a text you as a 6-digit code.
Just making sure it's the right landing point. Okay, I think I should be pretty much good to go with this. Just make sure I got that right.
I only washed it once. It's gotten it.
No.
It was
Why would I
so
wash my face?
Okay, we should be going in about 3 minutes. And this press conference will probably be about 10 to 15 minutes. I don't think they can take any questions about anything. And it's two completely separate things. And
Okay.
we'll actually kind of clear the room with who's in front and then start the second topic.
Okay.
Better be prepared.
That's true. That's true.
So I can hurt your ass.
She could write. She could write.
Thank you for texting me. We were like in the middle of eating a french fry.
Yeah.
And suddenly we're like, there's a bird!
Oh, did she let us know?
Yeah, she texted me, yeah.
Like, oh man.
Yeah. I know. You're like, he's still down here. I'm like, the clerk is calling for me right now.
He hopped on the elevator with us. I was not expecting it because I didn't know he was on the board.
Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you some stories about running that I've had. Actually, I walked all the way out to an empty parking lot with just 2 cars. He's behind me. I said, oh.
Oh.
Hey, I know you.
I was like, well, yeah. And he said, I'm guilty. I was like, either way, I know I'm in the parking lot. Whoa. I know when I went out to go to the bathroom, I knew he was up there and yeah, I have no life to me. I've never seen that. In custody as well. Also, yeah, same. Actually, I was walking up the road and I was like, we were just trying to up the road and processes, and I'm like, I'm glad it's thorough, with annoying, honestly, like you run an unloaded and have wagon. Yeah. That's where it's box 4. Honestly, that's so funny.
I got my bug spray through.
Oh, you did?
My bug spray
They've
still.
taken my bug spray before.
They did last time I did it too.
Yeah.
See, so I got a new can, luckily there again, and
Then it's
all got through.
yeah. It's funny.
Good afternoon. I'm State Attorney Amira Fox. Thank you for joining us here this afternoon. Up here at the podium with me is our Fort Myers Police Chief, Jason Fields. On the end there, Captain Mike Walsh, Detective Wolfgang Daniel, all from the Fort Myers Police Department also, and then also former FBI agent and now captain at Lee County Sheriff's Office, James Ronsinski. Beside me here, I have Assistant State Attorney and Homicide Attorney Sarah Miller, Assistant State Attorney and Cold Case Homicide Attorney Lena Marcos, and our Trial Assistant Suzanne Blakely. Today, Demetrius O'Neil was convicted of 2 counts of second-degree murder and 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder for his role in the Club Blu mass shooting in Fort Myers on July 25th, 2016. An 18-year-old and a 14-year-old were shot to death outside of Club Blu. 14 others were injured on that date. It was supposed to be a fun night out, a teen night at Club Blu off of Evans Avenue here in Fort Myers. But instead, children were thrust into chaos and danger as gunfire rang out and a gun battle ensued. As soon as the attendees stepped out of that club as it closed, one witness said they heard over 100 shots ring out. At trial, we heard a 911 call with a woman seeking help as she watched children run for cover, and she herded as many as she could into a freezer to protect them. This is the chaos that was going on out there. As I said, 2 boys were shot and killed, many others were injured, and 2 young girls were also shot. Today's conviction is incredibly important. It hopefully helps to bring some sense of closure for the victims, their family members, and it sends a message. Violence will not be tolerated in Southwest Florida. We will find you no matter how many years it takes, as evidenced by this case, and we will prosecute you. If you engage in a shootout or a gun battle and somebody dies, you are responsible and we will prosecute you for that. This was an incredibly long, extensive, and detailed investigation. The start of all this was a fight between juveniles, a beef, as they called it. As presented at trial, there was a very long timeline of events that happened after that that led up to this deadly night. And we have prosecuted multiple defendants that were involved in this shooting and still have 1 pending trial. It is incredibly rewarding today to see the culmination of so many years of hard work. We together formed the Club Blu Task Force after this shooting to review hundreds of items of evidence, hundreds of tips, and bring together the resources of many different agencies to get this solved. That included my office, the Fort Myers Police Department, obviously, the FBI, the Lee County Sheriff's Office, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and the U.S. Marshals Service. The Fort Myers Police Department was the lead investigating agency in this case, and I want to hand this over now to Chief Fields to say a few words about this and tell us about how he feels with today's culmination on this conviction.
Thank you, State Attorney Amira Fox. Today's verdict in the Club Blu case represents a long-awaited moment of justice for the victims, the families, and the entire Fort Myers community. Nearly a decade, as we heard, has passed since that tragic night, but our commitment to seeking accountability has never wavered. I want to extend my deepest gratitude to State Attorney Amira Fox, her tenacious team of prosecutors, and all those who dedicated countless hours to ensure justice was served. Their professionalism, diligence, and pursuit of truth have never been more instrumental in bringing this case to a close. To the victims, families, please know that the Fort Myers Police Department has never forgotten you or the young lives lost. This verdict cannot undo the pain, but it stands as a reminder that our justice system can and does deliver. I'm proud of the detectives, the officers, and all the law enforcement partners who worked tirelessly on this investigation from day one. Their persistence and teamwork with the State Attorney's Office reflect the very best of what it means to serve this community. And as we move forward, we remain steadfast in our mission to protect, to serve, and to honor the memory of those we have lost by continuing to build a safer Fort Myers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief Fields. This investigation was really incredibly detailed, and I want to thank you and your incredible team of officers and detectives who worked so hard every day to protect our community and who made this happen today. Thank you. I also want to thank the jury for their really hard work over a 4-week trial. It's hard to be a juror, especially when you're in a lengthy trial, and we appreciate their commitment. And I really want to thank these two assistant state attorneys standing beside me here, Lena Marcos and Sarah Miller, and our trial assistant, Suzanne Blakely. I have witnessed firsthand the amount of years, months, hours of hard work that it takes to get a case like this to the conclusion in the courtroom today. And I cannot even adequately express how much it is and how exhausting it is and how hard they have worked. And I feel so proud to be on this state attorney team with them, our group of investigators who are all standing here who worked so hard on this case, and my partners in law enforcement in this circuit. I don't think you could ever have a better team, and I'm really proud to be on it. We owe you a great debt of gratitude for making our community so safe. This event, this crime, was a dark day in the history of Fort Myers. But today, it gets a little bit lighter because justice has been served, and we will continue to see justice served. I want to thank all of you very much. And if you have any questions, we have another announcement, but if you have any questions on the Club Blu conviction today, we won't be able to answer all questions because sentencing is still pending and we still have one defendant left to prosecute. But Ms. Miller, our great ASA of our homicide unit, is available to answer any questions that you have. Sarah?
Thank you. Why try the suspects separately? I don't know if you can answer that.
Sure. So some of the evidence couldn't come in against all of them. So, for instance, the defendant in this case gave a statement that wouldn't have been able to been played in the other cases. So it was really, that was the main reason, is because each case is a little bit different and a little unique.
Why did some of them end up being plea deals like we saw in the weeks leading up versus this one being a full trial and the next one also?
Well, everybody has their right to exercise, to have a trial. And so some came to us wanting plea deals. This defendant did not want to plea. He wanted a trial. So that's why we ended up in trial.
Early on in the case, one of the defendants, Kira Ross, her attorney asked that she be tried separately. Did that complicate or ease the case on your end?
So Kiera Russ was in 2022, and we tried that case separately because her attorney wanted a trial at that time. The others weren't ready for trial. So that was a totally separate one. The defense did file a motion to try to do a couple of them together, but again, based on the issues we had with the statements and not being able to play them in both the defendants' cases, that motion was not granted.
What evidence do you think really drove home this conviction today?
I think it was all of it. This case is an example because there wasn't just one thing that showed his guilt. It was multiple pieces of evidence, and that's why this case was so important to have all of us working together, because there was forensics, there was the phone, there was witnesses, there were members of the Dunbar community that came forward. So it really was so many pieces tying together to prove this case.
How was it like for you and your team to hear the guilty verdict?
It's a very satisfying thing to hear because we did put so much time and work into it. And obviously there were numerous victims that were shot, and a lot of them experienced trauma that night and they have injuries still. And so to be able to see justice and to know that there's some closure for people is just a really rewarding feeling.
Could you speak to the potential sentencing, coming up? What could he be facing?
Sure. So each of the second-degree murder charges, he could get life for those counts and then 15 years for the conspiracy.
All right. Thank you so much. We do have a second announcement. And to join me in the second announcement, I would like Assistant State Attorney and Chief of our Special Victims Unit circuit-wide, Francine Donnarumma, to join me. All right, this morning, the State Attorney's Office has filed a notice of intent to seek the death penalty in the cases against Quintasha Massaquoi and Louis Massaquoi for the murder of their child. I convened the Lee County Grand Jury back in September on this case, and these two were indicted for first-degree murder, a capital felony, aggravated child abuse, and failure to report suspected child abuse, abandonment, and neglect. This case involves the death of the couple's 12-year-old son. The crime outlined in the indictment reads in part that between September 1st, 2024 and January 27, 2025 in Lee County, the defendants, while engaged in the perpetration of or the attempt to perpetrate an aggravated child abuse, killed the victim. The details of these cases are incredibly and extremely unsettling and upsetting. The facts of these cases support the aggravating factors necessary for us to seek death. These crimes were torturous, heinous, atrocious, and cruel to a child who had no way of defending himself or escaping, and they were committed by people who stood in a position of custodial or familial authority to the child. This case involved a very detailed, extensive investigation by the Lee County Sheriff's Office led by Sheriff Carmine Marcino. They did a great deal of work and excellent work in order to gather the evidence in this case and enabling us to file a notice of intent to seek death today. Our Special Victims Unit Chief, Francine Donnarumma, as well as our Homicide Unit Attorney, Andreas Gardner, will be prosecuting these cases. Let me say it again. I say it every time. We will never turn away when it comes to protecting the citizens of Southwest Florida. A child should never know this type of pain and suffering, and certainly not at the hands of the people who are supposed to be protecting him, the parents as alleged in this case. I appreciate you all joining us here today for these two announcements, and thank you.